Everyone's drugged up these days. Everyone's a walking zombie. Everyone's drugged up on pills. Oh, and another thing I was going to talk about is, like, obviously the impact of, like, school shooters all being on antidepressants. Is there a correlation with that? Yeah, probably. And I mean, I talked about not feeling an emotional connection to people being on medications, or not having the emotional connection to my family and friends and girlfriend, and just, like, not caring what happens to them, or, like, not wanting to be around them. So if I can notice that that's a thing for school shooters, if they're on these medications and then they go and, like, shoot up schools, I think there's probably some sort of connection there. I don't think that's a conspiracy. Probably we should look at that and maybe stop that whole thing, even though I'm not American, I'm Canadian. The whole school shooting thing, huh? It's sad. It's sad, it's sad, it's sad. And it's sad that there's not a huge willingness to try to get people off of medication. And I do think some people need to get on medication. I do think some people need to stay on medication. Do I think they need to be on huge cocktails that they're on? Or do I think that adding medication and adding medication and adding new medications is the solution for some of the problems? No, I don't think that is the solution. Do I think increasing and upping the dosage constantly is the solution for people's problems? No. So, and also with me, with my own personal stuff, I'm only on one medication, and I lowered it not long ago, and then I had some, like, problems. But I think I have problems right now because I'm still pretty young. I mean, I'm not in puberty still, I'm 25. But I think the younger you are, the more impulse you are, like the more impulsivity there is kind of to do things maybe out of character, or more emotional things. Because with age comes kind of more reasoning, more stability in life, more knowledge, more wisdom. So I do think it'll probably take me more years before I try to potentially taper off of the medication I'm on. I just think I'm probably a little too young right now. There's too much rage. There's too much rage and vigor in my loins that if I try to come off, it'll just burst to the surface. I have the example, or the metaphor I'll give, is that Kurama. The Kurama inside of me is it's a little too strong. He comes out in full rage and full rampage when I lower the medication. So maybe as I grow older and I learn to work with Kurama and learn to interact with Kurama a little better, that we can one day taper off the medication, and Kurama and I, and if you don't know who Kurama is, go watch Naruto. Go watch Naruto. You'll know who Kurama is. Kurama is inside me, and he's waiting. He's waiting for his chance in the light. But I need to be in full control. Just as Naruto spends years working with that inner demon, I need to do the same. Is kind of how I look at it. And I like myth making. I think it just, when you can make stories out of your life, when you can make myths out of your life, it lessens anxiety around things. I think it lessens kind of trauma around things. For example, when I think about some of the times I spent in psych wards and some of the things I did, some of the behaviors, and you can look back at that and you can be like very shameful, you can be like embarrassed or disgusted, or oftentimes I think people don't even want to think about it because there's so much trauma or there's so much disdain for some of the things they did or the person they were at that time, that you just block out you block it out. You don't want to acknowledge that it's even there. And I'd rather create a story in my mind, or create a mythology out of what happened that can benefit me, rather than every time a thought comes up or every time I walk into a hospital that I'm reminded of these stories or reminded of these times, instead of being pulled back into a negative, traumatic situation. I have this like story that I draw on, and this story that I build. It's kind of like a mythology, and I use animes to do that. I think animes are really good at building mythology and building character arcs, because ultimately we are the designer, we are the creator of our own lives. So if you can, not only in the world, how you portray yourself to others, or how you walk around and how your life plays out in the physical reality of the world, but also in your inner world, you can create your own story. And whether you say this is like delusional, like schizophrenic thinking, like whatever, I don't care, it works. But if you can build your own mythology of your life and think about these hardships that you went through, or think about these negative times or these negative experiences, and look at them as like, oh, that was me building, that was me gaining more confidence and gaining more experience in this world, and like kind of building your own character, building that inner strength of your own character, and you take it and you carry that with you. And I think someone talks about this, I think it was like Joe Rogan, he says like, picture yourself as the main character in your story. And or he said like ignore that. He said, live your life as if there's a film crew following you around your day-to-day life, and act and live your life as if there's a film crew. And where you are right now in your life is like the beginning of the story of that documentary, and you're gonna live the life, you're gonna have it filmed, and obviously there's gonna be hard times, there's gonna be embarrassing times, there's gonna be failures, there's gonna be tears, there's gonna be victories. All of those are gonna be in the documentary. But the more aware you are kind of that like, I guess you could say like being like a main character in your world, or knowing that it may impact someone else's world, or impact something better than just like who you are, or have some sort of impact because it's being documented, is like, do that internally as well. Think about your life internally as well, like as a kid, some of those hardships, or teenage years, think about those hardships and be like, okay, those were stepping stones, those were myth making. You had to go through them to become the stronger person, or you had to go through those to gain the wisdom and gain the knowledge. It's not like they just happen and then don't take anything from them. It's like, no, take and reflect and look at the most negative parts of your life, the most negative things that you've ever gone through, and say like, those were good. That's good that it happened. It's only bad if you don't take anything from it. The worst things that happen to you are only the worst things, and only bad if you decide not to take anything good from them. But if you can take some sort of narrative, and you can build some sort of narrative, and you can add some sort of character to you, or some sort of whatever it is, you guys understand what I'm saying. But take those stories, take the hardships, whether that's laying on the floor, being locked in the room of a psych ward, being strapped to a bed in a psych ward and being injected with needles, and going like, I mean, this is for me personally, but look at that and go like, okay, look at that hardship, look at where I was, look at what I came out of, that I can come and I can sit here and draw upon that story to tell, that you can gain strength, you can gain some wisdom, some knowledge from these stories. You have to with everything in your life. They're not always just negative things. Although they may seem at the time that it's just a negative thing, there are always positives to draw on, and it may take time to to draw on those positives. It may take time to gather the knowledge and wisdom, but it is what we have to do. It is what we have to do.